Everyone tells you to go out more, get social, be more extroverted, build your network. But what if I told you that the people who love staying at home aren't running away from life? They're running towards something most people will never understand. You've been taught that preferring your own space means you're broken, antisocial, missing out, that you need to fix yourself. But here's the truth nobody's telling you. There's an entire psychology behind why some people are wired to thrive in solitude, and it has nothing to do with fear, laziness, or being damaged. By the end of this video, you're going to see your own behavior, or someone you know, in a completely different light. I'm going to show you why staying home isn't the problem. It's actually a misunderstood response to how your brain processes the world. And once you understand the real mechanics behind it, everything changes. Let's start with what most people get wrong. When someone says they prefer staying home, the automatic assumption is they're avoiding something. Maybe social anxiety, maybe depression, maybe just being lazy. And sure, sometimes that's part of it. But here's where it gets interesting. There's a massive difference between isolation and intentional solitude. One is running away. The other is choosing what actually recharges you. And neuroscience backs this up. People who genuinely love being at home often have what's called a low dopamine threshold. Their brains don't need constant external stimulation to feel satisfied. They don't crave novelty the way extroverts do. A quiet evening, a book, a hobby, a show, a personal project, that's not doing nothing. That's their brain operating in its optimal state. Meanwhile, the extroverted brain is literally wired to seek rewards from social interaction. It gets a dopamine hit from engagement, noise, and external validation. Neither is better. They're just different operating systems. But society only celebrates one of them. And this is where things start to go sideways. Because when you don't fit the mold, people start diagnosing you. So here's what happens next. You grow up in a world that constantly reinforces the idea that being social is the default setting for a healthy human. Every movie, every self-help book, every motivational speaker, they all preach the same thing. Get out there, connect, expand, network, show up. And if you don't naturally want that, you start to internalize shame. You begin to think there's something wrong with you, that you're broken, that you're missing some crucial piece of the human experience. You force yourself to go to parties you don't enjoy. You say yes to hangouts that drain you. You perform extroversion because you think that's what being normal looks like. But here's the thing. Forced socialization is just as damaging as forced isolation. When you push yourself into environments that fundamentally conflict with how your nervous system operates, you're not growing, you're just exhausting yourself. And over time, that exhaustion turns into resentment. Resentment toward other people, toward yourself, toward the idea of connection altogether. And that's when the real damage starts. Because now you're not just someone who prefers solitude. You're someone who's been conditioned to feel guilty about it. You're someone who's learned to apologize for your own needs. You start declining invitations, and instead of feeling neutral about it, you feel bad. Like you're letting people down. Like you're failing at being human. But listen closely, if you've ever felt this way, it's not because you're weak. It's not because you're broken. It's because you've been living by someone else's blueprint for what a fulfilled life should look like. The truth? Some people recharge through connection. Others recharge through solitude. And trying to force one to become the other is like asking a night owl to become a morning person. You can fake it for a while, but eventually, your biology pushes back. But there's one more layer to this. People who love staying home aren't just introverted. They're not just low energy. They're often highly sensitive processors. And that changes everything. What does that mean? It means their brains take in more information from their environment than the average person. Sounds, textures, emotions, social cues, energy shifts, all of it gets absorbed and processed at a deeper level. And while that can be a gift, it's also exhausting. Imagine walking into a crowded room. For most people, it's just background noise. But for a highly sensitive processor, it's like trying to listen to 10 conversations at once while also tracking everyone's body language, facial expressions, and emotional undertones. It's not that they're overthinking. It's that their brain is literally wired to notice more. And after a few hours of that, they are done. Not because they're weak. Not because they don't like people. But because their system has hit its limit. So they go home. And in that quiet space, their brain finally gets to rest. No overstimulation. No performance. No constant scanning. Just peace. And here's where it gets really interesting. When these people are at home, they're not doing nothing. They're creating. They're thinking. They're diving into hobbies, projects, or interests that actually matter to them. Because when you're not spending all your energy managing external stimulation, you have bandwidth for depth. Some of the most brilliant writers, artists, scientists, and thinkers in history were people who preferred solitude. Not because they hated humanity, but because solitude gave them the space to do their best work. To think without interruption. To create without compromise. But society doesn't see it that way. Society sees someone staying home and assumes they're stagnant. Missing out. Wasting their life. But here's what's actually happening. While everyone else is out chasing shallow connections, people who stay home are building deep ones. They're not interested in knowing 100 people on a surface level. They want 3 or 4 people they can actually trust. People they can have real conversations with. People who don't drain them. And that's not antisocial. That's selective. That's intentional. That's smart. Because here's a hard truth. Most social interaction is performance. Small talk, pleasantries, networking. It's surface-level engagement designed to make you feel connected without actually connecting you to anything real. And for people who process deeply, that kind of interaction feels hollow. It feels like a waste of energy. So they opt out. Not because they don't value connection, but because they value meaningful connection. And they'd rather have none than settle for fake. Now, does this mean staying home all the time is the answer? No. Because here's the nuance that matters. There's a difference between choosing solitude because it serves you, and hiding at home because you're afraid. One is empowering. The other is limiting. And you need to be honest with yourself about which one you're doing. If staying home energizes you, sparks your creativity, gives you clarity, and makes you feel like yourself, then you're doing it right. Keep doing it. Protect that space. Don't apologize for it. But if staying home is because you're avoiding discomfort, dodging rejection, or running from the possibility of being hurt, then you're not choosing solitude. You're choosing fear. And that's a different conversation. The key is this: solitude should feel like freedom, not a prison. If your time alone feels restorative, peaceful, and aligned with who you are, you're golden. But if it feels heavy, isolating, or like you're hiding from the world, then it's worth asking yourself what you're really avoiding. Because staying home isn't the issue. The issue is whether you're doing it from a place of strength or from a place of fear. And once you understand that distinction, everything clicks. If this video made something click for you, if it helped you see your own patterns in a new light, or gave you language for something you've always felt but couldn't explain, then you're probably someone who thinks deeper than most. And that means you'll get value from the other stuff I make here. I don't do fluff. I don't do motivational quotes over stock footage. I break down the psychology behind why we do what we do, and I give you the tools to actually use that knowledge. So if that's your thing, hit subscribe. Because there's a lot more where this came from. Let me leave you with this. The world is going to keep telling you that staying home means you're missing out. That you need to be more social, more visible, more out there to live a full life. And for some people, that's true. But for others, it's just noise. If you're someone who thrives in solitude, who recharges alone, who does their best thinking in quiet spaces, then you're not antisocial. You're not less than. You're just wired differently. And the sooner you stop apologizing for that, the sooner you can actually build a life that fits you, instead of trying to fit into someone else's idea of what your life should look like. The problem was never you. The problem was the model you were trying to force yourself into. So stop forcing it. Own your wiring. Protect your energy. Choose depth over breadth. And remember, some of the most powerful people in the world are the ones who know when to step back, go inward, and do the work that actually matters. Staying home isn't hiding. It's just knowing where you do your best work. And understanding that already puts you ahead of most people.